Hello everyone. Right, this is going to be the first one of my actual showcases of one of my armies, or my son's army. And what I'm going to do with this, I talked about in the last video, is it's at a certain stage at the minute, but I'd left it to move on to 40k once 8th edition come out, and my son's asked can I go back to it. So I'm going to start doing this army again for him, and what I thought I'd do is, some are fully painted, I'll show them, and we'll talk about techniques and whatnot. Some are in mid stage and some are in basic stage, so I thought it would be ideal to go talk about the different stages, talk about my techniques. What I do want to say is, when I am talking sometimes, a lot of the advice and a lot of stuff I give, please don't think I'm trying to teach you veterans out there how to suck eggs, veteran painters, veteran war gamers. Any advice I give is solely obviously based towards people who are just coming into the hobby, or people who are daunted by painting miniatures and things like that. Me myself, I have a really bad issue with being able to differentiate between a tabletop standard and a showcase standard, or the best I can paint showcase standard. So it makes me like a really slow painter. And as I said in the old video, I also, you're coming in from work, you've got your family, you're tired, do a bit of training, go for a run, do whatever. Life can bog you down, and you need motivation, want to paint. And when you've got, like, say for example, like my son wants me to paint these, so that's motivation for me. Or it might be, I'm doing a 40k army at the minute, following a guy called Warmer Will, YouTuber called Warmer Will, great site, and that's enough motivation for me to say, right, I'm gonna follow his Tailor 4 Warlords. I'm gonna paint 400 points of Space Marines a month. So that's a little, as I said again in the last video, that's a little sideline, and that's enough for me. Otherwise, I'm just painting for the sake of painting, and it gets a bit much sometimes, especially when you're an old bugger like me. It's hard to do anything, let alone sit down and paint. You just want to sit in the settee and watch telly. So we'll go through the bits and bobs. I'm going to go through the army. The only problem is as well, I did order the latest Age of Sigmar General's Handbook, but there's been a bit of a hiccup, so I'm not getting that till this coming Friday or Saturday. So I don't know what the rule changes are. My army's based on the previous General's Handbook, or the previous war scrolls for the Dwarves, and I thought they were a very limited army anyway. Obviously, Games Workshop are a business, they're going to bring these other armies out, and people are going to want to collect them because there's a lot of cheese involved with them. And I do feel that they really dumped on the older hobbyists who collected armies previously, and I don't really like. I love the Age of Sigmar rules. I really love them. I think it's revolutionised the game, to be honest. Because the old system was bogged down in, flanking and pivoting on the spots and all the rest of it. It could just bog a game down so much. But I really do think that I'd love to, even if they made one of the is it the 8 realms or whatever, more sort of medieval based. I don't know if it's copyright based. They had to blow up the world, so because people were taking them to court for whatever reason, but I do feel, you get these old medieval houses, and we went to York the other day, and you see the old medieval houses and think, oh, great. I remember when White Dwarf used to do battle reports with houses like that, and I miss that type of thing. But as I say, I'm not sure on the rules now. I did buy Grim Berlickson, one of the main characters that I thought was really good in the last edition. His ability to repair more than one cannon, his ability for re-rolls, and the one where he can add 6 inches to a ranged unit. Just fantastic. And now, by the looks of it, as I say, I haven't got the book yet, but by the look of the War Scrolls on the FAQ, they've nerfed him down to just an engineer, which I've had that engineer for ages. My mate painted him up, and a bit of OCD, because it's going in my army or my son's army. I couldn't have another guy, even though it was a really high standard. I could not have another guy painted miniature in my army. If I've got an army, I have to paint it myself. So I had an engineer already. I didn't need to buy Grim Berlickson, but I bought him, forked my money out. As we all know, with Games Workshop, hell of a lot of money that could be going to better things. And then they've nerfed him to just an engineer. So dumping on the old Wanderers get the same, and the Free Guild, or whatever they are. I don't collect the old Empire army, so I don't know what they're called now. But yeah, I do feel, I think Games Workshop are getting really good lately at listening, and I've been to Warm World a couple of times, and I really do think that they're coming along leaps and bounds. But it is a bit of a surprise how, you know, they're doing it in White Dwarf, where they're doing the rollbacks to the previous issues, and they seem to have a lot of pride about it. But at the same time, they do seem to really dump on these older sort of armies, basically. Anyway, forget about that. So, just a quick one about the 40k thing. This is what I'll be working on. I won't be working on the Dwarves for the next couple of weeks. I'm really busy for the next couple of weeks. I'm doing the Great North Run next week, so I'm training for that. Got just come back off my holidays, so I've got to catch up with loads of overtime. So when I can get a chance to paint, this is what I'm working on for the next couple of weeks. Razorback for the Tale of Four Warlords for Warhammer Wheels thing. Started it already. Just basics at the minute. Things like, you know, looking at the lights, just getting the highlights on the lights, and I don't think you can see the lighting, just doing the point lighting on inside the targeting systems, being base coated, and then obviously he'll be getting done up. And all I'll say on this, I've touched on this last time on the last video, and I think I even brought the other miniature down as an example. This is a mistake I think I've been making. I'm still going to wash this all over with probably a Vallejo wash, like a brown Vallejo wash, even though I do think the Games Workshop washes are excellent. But I'm going to wash this all over, because I actually think it's just as simple to just as fast, sorry, to wash it all over, and then bring the base colour back up. I think it looks better personally, and I also think by the time you're going into all the crevices with you know, washing in crevices, trying to be careful, I think you're just as fast to just lather it all over. Make sure you get all your pools built up, unless you want a really high shade, and then just bring up the base colour and water it down, and then just bring it back up on the you know, the really recessed areas. But what I said in the last one, I don't like edge highlights. I've sort of contradicted myself, because on these, and I'm going to go back to my Tau Commander as well, I am going to do an edge highlight, because I think they need it, to be honest, because there's so much surface. I think these do need it. But when I do paint this, because I've been in the army, I was on the tanks in the army, I'm sort of going to show you why the type of weather I'm doing, just from experience, from knowing what the tracks would be like, and what, you know, my planet that I'm going to be basing my 40k on is like almost like a moonscape planet. It's getting terraformed, and you know, there's all sorts of stuff going on there, but it's quite a dry, dusty planet, so there won't be big clumps of mud. It'll be mainly like dusty tracks, and sort of like there'll be bits of damage where the driver's banged into stuff, or he's rammed an enemy or whatever. A bit of, you know, paint taken off it and things like that. But yeah, anyway, that's basically what I'll be doing for the next couple of weeks, because that's all I'll fit in. And right, onto the army. So I'm going to name for him. but this is the general for Jack's army, my son. I based him on the Rune Lord's base. Actually, I clipped it off, and if you have a look underneath, it's got the runes on. And a bit, as I say, I based him on because he's a brilliant character. He's out of the Blood Pass, whatever it is, the old Warhammer box set, and I've had him in the loft for, again, as I mentioned in the last post, I don't throw anything away. I've had him in the loft for years. And I think he's such a squat, great character. I just thought, yeah, why not? Why do you have to go out and buy one of these characters? It's been sat there, get him painted up. And a thing on him is, when I did the cloak, it's really hard to, with the light, to pick out the shading and that, but the cloak's quite heavily shaded. But the runes on the cloak, they're actually Dwarven runes from Tolkien's runes, and it actually spells out Barney, because whilst I was painting him, our dog that we'd had for 12 years was part of the family, he died unfortunately, and my son, well, we were all devastated, but my son's only 9, so he's grown up with him all his life, and I thought I'd do this little tribute. He was in tears when I did it for him and that, so it worked out pretty well. Nice tears, happy tears. It's sort of like a way that I'll always be able to remember him. So yeah, he's Pride of Place. He's Jack's favourite miniature. I might just pan that camera on and see if you can get a less sort of like a shiny. Oh, I can't. Sorry. Yeah, but that's the guy. I might, towards the end of the video, I might just pan the camera around and see if I can get a bit more detail on the painting. Anyway, got the old white dwarf. I painted him ages ago and spent a lot of time painting him. I was a lot worse at my flashes then. I think he's a bit too tanned, to be honest, and I don't like the axe that much. But the worst thing about it was, because he's a metal miniature, I'd coated him, and at the time, years ago when I painted him, there wasn't all the choice of matte satin, or at least I didn't know about it, so he got a gloss varnish and he looks like something you'd stick on your granny's shelf. It's high sheen, let's just say. But I don't mind his cloak. I think his cloak's fairly decent. It looks a lot different in the camera, a lot more subtle in real, you know, from my eye. But whoa, nearly dropped him. But yeah, that's him. As I say, got Grimberlix in there, still boxed. He needs painting up. We've got another engineer there. As I say, the one I showed you. He's the old model engineer. And I've got, I can't remember the new name from, I can't remember, but basically the Berserker. Giant Slayer, and the dwarves, because there's, in my opinion, fairly underpowered, they'll mainly be fighting the old system, like orcs and goblins, and basically they won't be fighting Stormcast Eternals, or I think the Seraphim are quite powerful now. He's got a Seraphim army as well, but he won't be fighting it. My wife's got Sylvain, he won't be fighting them. And I've got Khorne and Nurgle. I've got some Nurgle trolls from the Forge world because they're just fantastic, so why wouldn't you? But yeah, he's primarily going to be fighting my goblins, who are the Blood Moon Brigade. So he's, obviously, this goblin, being the cowards that they are, he's ran off, and this Berserker's jumped onto his back, and he's going to just about to vault him and fly into fray the other goblins that are fleeing from his frenzy. But yeah, I didn't take much conversion, to be honest, for the goblin. I just clipped his feet off to reposition him so they were splayed out, trimmed them down a bit on the bottom, and it's a bit messy, but I wasn't concerned because I'm going to put bits of make it as if he's got clumps of mud where he's run through puddles. Splayed his arms out, changed the position of his arms, splayed them out, put some green stuff in the cut, because I cut the body as well and the head. But once that's all painted up and smoothed out and such, you hopefully, touch wood, you won't be able to see any differences in there. I'll just show you another couple of characters. That's based, and I've got a Rune Lord in the big box set there, which I'll show you in a minute. That's the characters. Obviously got 2 engineers because I've got quite a lot of cannons, or Jack's got quite a lot. When I say this is Jack's army, 100% Jack's army, but I can keep saying I, just ignore it. So yeah, I'm just going to show you a few other characters for some of the veterans out there, or the old buggers, as I like to think of them. We've got on the Thunderers. I don't really like the brace of pistols. That's the guy you get in the box set. But between me and my motley crew of role players, who are all 20 to 30 year plus of role playing, we've got, I'm not exaggerating, we must have between 3,000 to 5,000 miniatures between us. So we've got a big collection, including when we went to Warmer World, and you go into the if you've never been, the first door you go through has got some of like the really old miniatures, and how it progressed from where it is now, and then you go through the main doors and it's all new stuff. And we're looking in the windows at the miniatures, and we've got half of them, and we're sort of like play with half of them. We're doing Dungeons and Dragons, so we're that's how old we all are. So this is one of the guys anyway. I'm not liking this light at all. But yeah, that's one of the old guys. Got the crook for his rifle, because he's obviously the sharpshooter. So I'm thinking of having him. He's one of the really old dwarves as my sergeant, leader for the Thunderers. And while we're on the Thunderers, these are at the sort of like almost finished stage. They haven't been based, they've been base coloured, and the thing with my army is they've got 3 predominant colours. They've got a Mechorite red, or a Mephiston red, I can't remember which one it is now, or the old red, a green and blue, and it's just 3 colours that I've woven into all of the troops, just to give them sort of like a uniformity without being an army. They're not an army, they're a dispossessed army, so they're a displaced throng of dwarven, supposedly mercenaries nowadays. So even though they're not an army, I've done the 3 colour scheme just to keep them, when they're on the board, they still have a sort of like almost uniform look to them. So yeah, that's sort of the stage. Even though that's basically, base colours are being put on, and I try and keep it as neat as I can, even though a lot of people just say just bang it on, put the wash on, and then neaten it up. I like to neaten it up, get the wash on, because once I've done that, it's just a case of bringing up. I only have to put one, especially with tabletop, I only have to put one highlight on to bring up to tabletop standard, because the way I do my washes, and this is again something I mentioned last time, is you don't necessarily have to stop the pooling, because people think you're going to pool it, it's going to look this thing. You can sort of semi de-pool an area. So for example, in the creases and things like that, you can wash the miniature, and what it does is it brings the green to a darker tone, and obviously clean that up. I mean, that hasn't been touched up at all there, and there's no smears on the green there, but that is a darker green than the original base coat I put on. Yeah, in the recesses there, if you can see, it's a shaded green. So when I bring the original colour back up, that's going to be my highlight, and it's going to create almost like a three-tone effect. And that's it for me personally. That's enough. And I'll show you how I've done a 3-tone effect, and it's not much different to that now. But they basically need basing, and they need raising up one highlight, basically bring the colour back up, bit of highlight on the the skin tones, and they're done as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, again with the theme, a lot of for the HQ of the units, the musicians and all the rest, a lot of like sort of brass and bronze, and a lot of hammer and anvils as well. I know it's not on this, but I'll show you what I mean. Right, two completely separate units. Unit of warriors, he's done, completely done, and even though he looks bug-eyed, but yeah, he's see with the hammer and the shield, the anvil and the shield, anvil and hammer. That's the theme that runs throughout the army. So it's like a blue on a silver hammer and anvil on a blue background. So if you look at that, got a completely different type of dwarf warrior from a different set, but yet it's the blue shield with the hammer and anvil. And again, I got this guy is in the original box set, the original sort of like leader for the blood, I can't remember what it's called now, the Attack on Blood Reach or something, whatever it is. He's the original leader for the warriors in that box set, so I kept him just because, you know, I've had the box set for so long, I wanted to use every miniature out of it. Yeah, on the other one, the main box set I got, I really don't rate it, to be honest. I think they're so basic, but they're really good as well. So I used an old, really old GW miniature, and again with the shield, hammer and anvil, snarling away with his teeth there. And yeah, so that's the sort of theme I've gone for. And then basically I'll show you now the way the army's going to be going. I've pretty much got almost the full army together, so I'll be back in a sec, guys. Okay, so here's the army in all its glory. So in the box at the back we've got, I think it's 10 dwarf hammers there. And then in this box here, you have another, basically I'll be doing another 10 dwarf hammers there. These can be made into thunderers, quarrelers, or anything you want. So they are going to be quarrelers, as are these. I'm going to have 30 quarrelers. I don't know, as I say, because I haven't read the book yet, if it's the same rules, but bulking up on a large squad of quarrelers is the way to go, and they are insanely powerful if you do. Double the shots once you hit a certain amount of quarrelers in the unit. 30 range, I think it is. Just really, really powerful. And then for me personally, they need bubble wrapping. I'd actually bubble wrap them with cannons at the back and thunderers at the front. That's how I'm gonna sort of shepherd Jack into running his army, even though he'll be going against me, so he'll be kicking my butt. We've got the two cannons in there, but they can be made into organ guns, so I think they're going to both be organ guns. And I'll show you why, because, sorry about that, finger in the way, because I've already got a cannon there. I didn't paint that up, I got that second hand, but that'll be getting painted up. And I've got a cannon there that's fully painted up. I used balsa wood, but I think I'm actually going to take that off and use cork. I've been using it recently and it's superb. But yeah, it's just a cannon, basic colours put on, like I said, with a theme, brassy, bronzy type thing with metal, washed, and then dry brushed, and then of bulk gun, and then another dry brush of silver just to bring it up. Really easy technique, took no time at all. Lighting's really, yeah. I'm doing a Booba Witch underdog painting, another great site, and Dark Artisan. Both recommend you don't paint in unnatural light. I totally agree. You certainly shouldn't film it because it's not picking out any of the stuff there. But yeah, two different types of beard, the two different types of grey beard as well. This guy's obviously the leader of it. I wanted it to look like he's a really old dwarf, but almost like a grandfather, like a Father Christmas white to his beard. Whereas this guy, he's obviously got to clean the barrel out. He has to be a bit younger, so you can't really see it on there at all. That has got an edge highlight of grey, but it's just more subtle than the other guy. And obviously he's got his ramrod to clean it out, so obviously it's going to be dirty. So got a bit of dirt on it. These guys here are going to be my long beards. Pretty much all of them are really old, apart from the guy in the middle. I think he's just one of the old iron breakers there, but not that old. The rest of them, some of them are Bugman's Rangers and just really old figures. A couple of these, primarily this one, I bought him. I wish I'd kept the picture. I took a picture of him when I bought him. Some guy was selling them cheap on eBay because he'd ruined them. I didn't even take them back to the metal. I just very carefully did a thin wash of black over them to get rid of the original colour. But these colours that are on them, the reds and the yellows, they were the actual original colours that were on it. And I sort of said to myself, well, keep that colour, just why not? He's put it on. I took some pictures, but I've got rid of them. Let's show before and after. So yeah, it was really good. I had real good fun painting these. I've got a few of them. The others are up in the loft, but I've got stacks of miniatures, so I couldn't find them, but they're up there anyway. I'll get them eventually. But yeah, I'll have a full rank. That's going to be my gyro copter. I'm sub-assembling it, so it's actually all, you could take that apart if you wanted to, because it's, as I say, I'm going to paint him in one piece and all the rest. Fully painted dwarf unit there. The camera's not picking up well at all with the same theme with the shields. A fully painted unit of dwarves there, and then, as I say, we have the heroes there. We have 15 Thunderers there. This thing of you have to take them in blocks of 10. Not in my house. You can take them what you want. We all know the individual points for them, and in my opinion, it's just a way to make you buy more miniatures. And then we have 10 miners with the cart there. I might get a few more of them as well. But yeah, that's the Dwarf Army. It's gone massively blurred. But yeah, be back here in a minute. So yeah, that's the army, guys. I don't think I'll be adding any more to it, unless he wants me to, but he's got a Seraphim army, and the Stormcast Eternals are his as well. So lots of painting for me to do. So I think the dwarves, that'll be the dwarves. If you want me to do a painting technique or something, I'm new to all this, so apologies again, if I make any cock-ups. Hopefully down the line, I might get a different camera or whatever. But yeah, if you want me to do a certain thing, if you want to show me a painting guide from step 1 to step finish, I can do that. You want me a certain miniature out of this that you want me to paint and for you and show you in stages, I can do that for you. And yeah, if once this is finished, if you guys can decide which army you want painted next if you want, and I'll do that as well, and we can go through that together. Or if you've got any questions, or you want me to do what I'm going to do, role playing reviews and things like that as well. Lots of knowledge, lots of books, lots of different role play games that I've done. Tens upon tens of different games, MERP, Paranoia, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even bloody bad language. Just loads of different games. So I can do book reviews if you want, do something we want to see. And yeah, that's about it. And I just also want to say, just as a last note, I'm certainly, obviously, not the only painting guide. This is just going to be for guys who are beginners, like I said. But if you want to see some brilliant painters, some brilliant painting guides, I can't recommend enough Underdog Painting, Dark Artisan, Warmer Will, Teesside Tyrants. Got a great Imperial Guard army, really well themed Imperial Guard army. There's obviously loads out there, but they're the ones I mainly follow. And what's the other one? No, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. So that's Glacial Geek. Glacial Geek's the last one. He does brilliant bat reps. Really funny guy. So yeah, like I say, if you want a certain thing shown, just put it in the comments and I'll do what I can, and I'll try and waffle on less next time. So see you later, guys. Bye.